modesty. I know you are a boss somewhere and you have your faith. People see your intelligence outside there and how modest you are around people, but your relationship is boring. There's a boss who told me, if you want to succeed in a relationship, you need to forget the organization on the doorsteps of your house when you enter that house. In that house, they don't need the boss. They need the man. They need the woman. Most of you are modest outside here. We respect you, but in the reality, if you write a book about your relationship, I'm telling you the truth. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm telling you the truth. You will write a title. My relationship has been boring for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Because why? You don't know how to live modesty outside the house. In the relationship, we need the boy and the girl for the relationship to survive. Plenty. They say too much of something is poisonous, but lack of it also is dangerous. I want you to understand, you need to know what you want in plenty. Because some of us are giving each other what we don't need. Do you know there is someone that doesn't like gifts? There are people, when you give them too much gifts, they feel like they are a charity case. I don't know if I'm making sense. They feel like they are a charity case. There are other people, when you give them too much words of affirmation, they feel like you are desperate. There are things that you give plentiful because of love, but your partner is misunderstood. Because some of us are investing in the wrong places. You need to understand what your partner wants and what they don't want. Because if you give what you want plentifully, it will go to dry land. Peace. Do not mistake peace with silence. Because at the end of the day, we are having relationships that they rather walk in eggshells. They rather not not to speak each other, not to ignite fight. That is not peace. And that is not even the element of you have the unity. The moment you feel you cannot be yourself around your partner, you have no peace in you. If you can't have unity in your relationship with your differences, that is not peace. Peace is where we find compromising. We find a common ground in your differences. You have sat down as mature people and you have understood we are two different people, but we are willing for this relationship to work to find common grounds. That is when you will find your peace. Pleasure. Can I tell you something? I have realized we have different people who get different types of pleasure, because at the end of the day, pleasure is not all about sexual intercourse. It's not about physical things. There are people who just have pleasure by when they get someone who they are thinking the same way. They feel they have had that intimacy they have been looking for. There are people who are looking for intimacy intellectually. These are people who can abstain for a very long time. Celibacy for them is nothing, because physicality doesn't give them that pleasure. What gives them pleasure is that element of I can think like them. We are growing mentally like them. So do not classify everybody with pleasure because that you can give them a good time. No. There are people who are different. Time. Nowadays, time is a currency. I'm telling you the truth. Time is a currency. Let me tell you something. You might not avail yourself physically, but the moment you take your 2 seconds to text the loved one, you have saved your relationship. The time you take that 1 minute, 2 minutes to call the person you are dating, you have saved your relationship. You have bought time for your relationship. Because nowadays, what you cannot do, another man can do. What you cannot do, another woman can do. So time is a currency that we need to hold dear, because if we don't spare time for the loved ones, others will spare time for them. Talking. You know, talking, it's a medium of exchanging ideas, exchanging thoughts. In short, it's where our mind relates. Because if you don't talk, I'll not understand how you think. I'll not understand your intellectual mind where it is. I don't understand if you have a future or plans. I don't understand what kind of a personality you have, because by the words of their mouth you will understand how, even the way they have a tone, how they grammatize their conversation. You will understand what kind of a person you are having. And that is what I usually encourage. Let me tell you something: spend more time talking than doing. I know actions talk more louder than words, but sometimes talking will tell you what kind of a person that person is. Because someone can do good gestures, but the way they talk, their tone always break your heart. Touch. What do you if you are dating someone who love being touched? Like PDA, you have to hold their finger, hold their hand, hold their waist. You see, those things, oh Jesus. And then you are busy. Oh, your relationship is doomed. The moment you come back home, you are so tired. The only thing you want to do is shower, eat, and sleep. They want to keep you all night. You touch them, you cuddle them, you spoon them. Let me tell you something: you are doomed. And I want you to understand the 5 languages. 5 love languages, because they will save you. Because most of us we are going with the physical appearance of a person, but we don't know what tickles them. Because if they won't touch and you are not a touchy person, you have lost someone. Name calling. I don't have a problem with pet names and those nicknames you give each other, but I have a problem when arguments arises. It is when you realize your partner looks like a dog. Why do you holler insults to a partner that you loved the other day? When the argument arises, it's when you know you are not a human being anymore. You are just a donkey, you are a dog, you are a snake. Yani, where do you get those words? How do you call someone you love stupid? Why do you call them foolish? Like they don't think. But 1 minute ago, you were praising them. I don't like the pretense we have. Because me, I usually say, when you argue with someone, when you fight with someone, it is when you know who you are to them. Because if you love someone, you cannot call them some words when there are fights here and there. You will always be strong anytime. Even if arguments arose, they will still be the cute people you had before. Diversity. I have a problem with people who look for people who look like them in a relationship. You are looking for a copycat you. Why? What are you multiplying? Okay, for example, these people who ask people, what are you bringing on the table? Why do you want someone who is bringing the same thing as you on the table? How will you grow? I told you relationships work like this: weaknesses and strengths. So you come with your weaknesses, my strengths corresponds with your what do I say, with your strength or your weaknesses. That is how tables work. But at the end of the day, if you reach somewhere you are looking for someone who has the strengths as you will discover you are creating a monster. If you look for someone who has weaknesses like you will discover that you will never grow, because you have no one to pull you when you are weak. So you need to realize that you have to allow diversity to enter in your life.